Good morning. We are live in beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. Good morning. For the thumbnail, I put up a photo of me and my son Chris many years ago. Well, happy birthday, Jason. You're 20 years younger than I am, so don't think you're old. Oh, man. Yeah, there were some riots in Arizona, too. Los Angeles, they actually tried to burn down Olvera Street. It's a Mexican-themed shopping mall right across the street from Union Station, and it's historic and it's awesome. Oh man. Dashboard lights were out. I don't know how that could make your driving unsafe. Criminy. Oh man. Sorry, Jason. I hope you have enough saved up to keep the lights on till everything's fixed. Welcome in, Pio. Ah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it seems like all the bad stuff is happening at once. I reported to Social Security that I got some donations on GoFundMe. Couldn't find a place to say it on the website, so I had to mail them a letter. They didn't send back a letter, they just called me on the phone and treated me like a naughty child. This is welfare, how dare you? Disability, as far as I know, is not welfare, but okay. And I missed one of their calls because my phone said it was potential spam, so I didn't answer it. And they left a voice message that sounded nice. So the next time I saw that number come up, I answered it and got chewed out for needing help. Now that I'm retired, after working since I was 17 years old. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jason. You need a GoFundMe. You might get some help. Wish I could help, but I've spent all I got from GoFundMe and I still have expenses to cover. Fortunately, I do have a credit card. It's good for up to $300. Not a whole lot of money, but it'll get groceries, I guess, since food stamps, because I'm not totally destitute, I don't get that much in food stamps. Fortunately, food prices are starting to come down. Yeah, it sucks. If you're here Without the proper papers, they'll give you everything for free. Money, food, housing. Here you go. But if you try to work for a living, you know, if I sold the house, I could buy a car and tell them I'm homeless and they'd get me all kinds of stuff. But that, I consider that cheating. Not gonna do it. Well, Jason, if you had a GoFundMe and you gave me the link, I could help to spread the word around. Yeah, Facebook, for all its faults, it does reach people. Yeah, well, I had to ask strangers for help, but actually, they know that I was married to a science fiction author that they love. And I gave him a son, a wonderful child. So today's thumbnail photo was me with Christopher. As you can see, he was not one to sit still in Mommy's lap. Yeah, I'm shocked and appalled by how much money in donations people can get for committing crimes because they need an attorney. And the people in their neighborhood don't like them, so they have to move. Tora, you're cute. Fortunately, all is quiet here on the mountain. Knock on wood. Tora, what do you want? I know what you want, but you're a pest. She says, "Where's my treats, Mom?" Well, you have to say hi to your fans. That's good. Kitty kisses. That's a good little girl. And there is Sweetie with her little white paws. Yes. You guys already had treats twice this morning. You're greedy. Well, of course we are. We're cats. Okay, you're here. Some for you and some for you. The other cats are outside catting around. Ah, yeah. Well, when I was straight out, actually, before I graduated college, I started looking for jobs. Only thing I could get was secretarial service and part-time temporary factory jobs and fast food. And I took those jobs. They didn't pay much. Yeah, we definitely need to pray for you, Jason. Is Pio still here? Pio's probably still in mourning. He's lost it. He's lost his grandma. She's lived a long, long life, and we applaud her for that. A good life, I assume, since her grandson loves her so much. And what is it with this world? The good people are the ones who suffer. The ones who lie, cheat, and steal are like awarded. Oh wow, that's hot, Jason. 113 degrees. Wow. Well, it wasn't this hot here, but on Tuesday, I think, Monday or Tuesday, I got heat stroke. I was working in the yard, pulling weeds, raking them up and bagging them, and I was drinking water and so forth, but I got heat stroke. And it lasted 2 days, and I still feel a little weakness. Yeah, it hit me Monday night and was really bad on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I was a little better, but still weak, and today I'm a lot better. But I can still tell I've got the sensations in my knees, especially. I'll show you my hat that I wear. Where did I put it? Here. This is the hat that I wear when I'm outdoors. Kai, here we go. When God made me, he was just showing off. It's like a baseball cap. Yeah, a large part of the happy things in my childhood was when my brother was in Little League playing baseball. Those were happy times. Well, he wasn't about to be a major league player, but Little League isn't just about, you know, becoming an athlete. There's a lot involved in teamwork and so forth. Builds character. Yeah, I think the last 20 years flew by for me, Jason. But this last year, it's just been like an instant. Boom, it's gone. Oh, oh, Theo, you know, being forced to play is stupid. You shouldn't force children to do things. You should find out what they want to do and what they're good at and encourage that. Yeah, I'm kind of relieved that this past year is over. Look where we were in June of 2024. I my childhood really did have some good, happy things in it and some good people. Well, the high school I graduated from didn't really have gym class, but all the boys would get together and play some kind of game with a basketball or a football. We didn't have a field to play on, so they just used whatever space was available. And the girls, I was one of the girls, of course, we did some calisthenics. You know, we'd do this and jumping jacks and whatever. The hardest part for me about gym class was dressing out and showering. You know, you have to put on your gym clothes, and when you're all done, you have to shower before you put on your regular clothes. I really did not like getting naked in front of other people, even if they were other girls. Way on the others. And then um, in seventh grade, I had gym class and then Spanish class, and they were the longest distance across the school that you would ever have to walk. So I could not get to Spanish class on time. In eighth grade, it was the other way around. Spanish class was sixth period, and phys ed was the last period. So I couldn't get to phys ed on time from the Spanish class. At least I got to go home, and I'd often skip the shower because I was going home anyway. They didn't like that, but oh well. I think it's stupid to take a shower every day. Yeah, I was in junior high, and now they call it middle school. Junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. And then for 10th, 11th, and 12th, you went to high school. I think with middle school, you start high school with 9th grade. All the boys in gym class with Jason smelled like Brute, an antiperspirant deodorant. Okay. At least it wasn't Old Spice. Anyway, yeah, school was good, but my stupid mother. I stayed in the orchestra, the junior high orchestra, even though I wasn't very good on the violin, because I could get an automatic transfer to the elite high school just because I was in orchestra. And Mom switched me to this little churchy private school where she was driving the school bus and my baby sister was in a special Montessori school that was in the same area close by and owned by the same people. I suppose it was so she would always know where I was and what I was doing. She was nosy that way, a very controlling person. And so I didn't get to go to Loara, the elite school. It was public school, but it was known to be the best. Anyway, it was a nice school. I enjoyed it, but I was so disappointed. And then when that school went bankrupt and closed, she put me into another private school and told me I had to pay the tuition. I had an after-school job. Fortunately, they gave me a discount because I was paying it myself. But my classmates were mostly students who got kicked out of continuation school. Now they just call it C school. It's for kids who get kicked out of the regular public schools. And these kids got kicked out of the C school too. They had juvenile criminal records, mostly drugs. It was it was like 1970, 71. And actually, I didn't have any problem with them. They didn't commit any crimes at school. And some of the students were just, for various reasons, their parents didn't want them in public school. Yeah, they didn't diagnose boomers as autistic or ADHD. They just told us to sit down, shut up, and do your work. Do your homework. It seemed to work. Anyway, sometime after I graduated, I applied at a college, and they were all thrilled and delighted that I graduated from Walden High School. Well, I didn't know it, but in the meantime, a couple of years after I graduated, they sold the school to an outfit that had schools for gifted children. So the college thought I had gone to this really high-class school for gifted children. Yeah, right. I had gone to a different school briefly for gifted children, but it was a joke. It was really for rich children, but it was another place where Mom drove the school bus. I went there for, I think, 1 year, something like that. Mom drove the school bus, and baby sister went to the school for gifted children, so I was just kind of a tag along. Might as well have both my daughters here. And my son and I both had the same problem. We were terrible at math and arithmetic until we reached a certain age, about 10th grade in high school. All of a sudden, everything worked and we could do math and it was easy. He even took calculus at the junior college. I backed off on calculus, not because it was hard, but because I did not have the time it would take to learn it. Yeah, I walked on eggshells mostly because of Mom, not so much the school. I got along with teachers. It was the kids I couldn't stand. They had their little cliques, and they are not cliques, they're cliques. Little in groups. And everybody who wasn't in their little group was like dog meat. And I wasn't in any of the cliques. Oh well. Anyway, I don't participate in demonstrations, just don't. No matter how I believe in the cause. For example, Arrowhead, owned by Nestle, is stealing water all over the world, including in my community. They had a super old contract from it's probably close to 100 years now, to take water from local springs. But there's a limit on how much they can take, and they've taken at least 10 times that amount of water, which is bad for the environment. And even though I'm not into eyelashes curling, anyway, or tangling, I'm not into environmentalism, but I am into common sense. When the wild animals have no water to drink, what do? They come into our yards looking for the water we put out for our dogs and our cats. And some of them eat the dogs and the cats. And frankly, they suffer. They can't get enough water, especially the fish. On top of that, the forest dries up because Nestle is taking their water. And then we have huge fires. Fortunately, in this area, the fires are not as bad as they could be because we're on the national forest. You see, California has gone crazy. They don't take out dead trees from state forests. They don't even clear the brush on state land, which is one of the major reasons why the Pacific Palisades burned down. But we're on the national forest, and they've been running controlled burns and taking out dead trees because they're national, not state. They have, more common sense. And in areas where it's not national forest, if a tree looks like it's going to endanger our electrical power lines, that Edison Company has, Edison will take down trees or at least trim them when they seem to be a hazard that might damage the electrical grid. I got to admit, Edison has done a really good job. PG&E, that's Pacific Gas and Electric in Northern California, after years of abuse and neglect, has finally started upgrading their power system. And they're even putting in underground power lines that won't get broken if a tree falls or if it's windy or whatever. But the state government has also been stealing water from farmers and others. Do you realize that we would not need the Colorado River water that comes into the state of California if the state would allow the water from up north to go into the California aqueduct, which was built for that purpose, instead of pouring it into the Pacific Ocean for some environmental garbage. Oh well, you've all gone silent. Maybe I'm boring you. Yeah, we were in 1970 as school children, we were being introduced to environmentalism. We were about to go into a new ice age if we didn't clean up our act and quit polluting. That was 55 years ago. Where's the ice age? And by 1980, it was global warming because it didn't get cold. Hasn't happened. Let's see, that would be 45 years since 1980. The world was going to end by 2000 because of global warming. That's 25 years ago. Why not come up with strategies to cope with the changing climate instead of trying to change the climate? Hang on, Dora. Let me move my foot. She needs more treats, which means that Sweetie gets treats too, don't you? Yeah, we were going to freeze to death and be covered in snow and ice. And then the entire North Pole was going to melt. The polar ice caps. I kind of wish the South Pole, Antarctica, would warm up. I want to see what's under all that ice. Apparently, it was once a tropical climate in Antarctica. Something drastic happened. Maybe it was Noah's flood. I've been re-listening to recorded talks by Chuck Missler. Now, he isn't correct on everything, but he has pointed out that the ancient people were terrified of the planet Mars. You know, that little red dot, sometimes you can see it next to the moon. As recently as 700 BC, They were terrified of the planet Mars. And they had to change their calendars because Mars came so close to the Earth that it changed the length of our year. Well, really, Jason, there's another continent. Oh, well, the other side of the South Pole from where? It's kind of the center of a circle, Antarctica. What I have heard is that under the ice there's tropical vegetation. You know, it's dead because it's frozen, but it's there. Palm trees and other tropical stuff. And there are some lakes that are warm enough to have life in them. But it's all like classified and top secret, so we don't get to know much about it. I think maybe you mean part of Antarctica is still an oasis. It's possible. You know, I once met, well, I rented a room because my friend's roommate was sent to Antarctica as a secretary. So she was going to be gone for a whole year. And this roommate was just a regular secretary, but she was sent to Antarctica to be a secretary there. And she had to have all kinds of background checks and sign a promise never to talk about anything she saw or heard while she was in Antarctica. She was to erase it from her mind and never talk about it. So I wonder what she wasn't allowed to tell us. Oh, Mae Brussels, she was awesome. Yeah, but now all the good ones are gone. Now we get former CIA agents talking about aliens and flying saucers, and you know what? It's a psyop. For one thing, there's no such thing as former CIA, which is why I voted against George Bush Daddy. He was a head of the CIA before he became Reagan's vice president, and he got voted in as President of the United States. That's just asking for trouble. And I don't remember which wars he got us into. I think one was Iraq, but I'm not sure. Well, hang on to that map, Jason. That's a good thing to have. Wow. And Admiral Byrd said some disturbing things. His expedition was cut short because they were attacked by jets that could fly from pole to pole in some really short period of time. Poor Forrestal. What they did to him, I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, what we have now with President Trump is a traditional Democrat in the style of John F. Kennedy. He only became a Republican because the Democrat Party had already chosen Hillary to run. So he couldn't run as a Democrat. And then he discovered that he could rebuild the Republican Party into what it was at one time. The Republican Party was formed shortly before they got Abraham Lincoln elected president. Their platform was anti-slavery, lower taxes, less regulation. Lincoln didn't quite fulfill that platform or even try to, but well, he thought that the black slaves were not ready for freedom. I think every human being is ready for freedom from the moment they're born, but oh well. It was more that even in that time, 1860s, the elite white Democrats, millionaires, were not ready to free the black slaves. And by the way, the Emancipation Proclamation did not free all the slaves. It just freed the slaves in the South. It took a constitutional amendment to free all the slaves and make them citizens. Wow. Anyway, it was the Republican President Eisenhower who sent the National Guard to enforce the integration of schools in the South. I think it was Alabama. Yeah, Montgomery. The governor, I should remember his name. Anyway, he was opposing integration. And yet, the Democrat line is that Republicans are racists. Well, some people are racists. I've met them. But it is not a platform of the political parties. It's just crazy people. There's only one race, the human race. I've been on for 45 minutes. Witta said she probably could not come in today, and I guess Freeman has been having health problems and bureaucracy problems. Anyway, today what we have, especially in the Congress, is a bunch of politicians, no matter what their political party. They don't really represent us. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians. Oh, that reminds me. Rand Paul was uninvited to some kind of lunch at the White House because of his stance on the big, beautiful bill. Apparently, the Senate is completely rewriting the bill, not just amending it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have to track down that clip of Admiral Byrd and watch it. So I think I better get off the live stream and look for that, because that's fascinating. Antarctica. Is a revelation about the climate and geographical history of this planet. It is not what we've been told. So you guys have a great day and a wonderful life. I get this out of my way so I can type. And you're in my prayers. And you are in my prayers. And I'll catch you another time. Sometimes I just pop on. Other times, well, I try to do Thursday mornings. So you guys have a great day. And thank you for being here. You make my day when you chat with me. See ya.